Welcome to this panel about festivals between Alps and Urals. My name is Vasil, but first I'm gonna give the words to my panelists here to introduce themselves and say what they do in very short sentences, let's say it like that.
30 seconds or
No.
20?
No. Just feel free. Please.
So my name is Ivana Jelača. I come from Zagreb and I work for INmusic Festival, which is Croatia's largest open-air festival dedicated to alternative contemporary music. And I'm the booker for the festival since 2013, and I also do quite a lot of other stuff for the festival, so onward and forward. Hi.
Nice one. Hi, my name is Titus, Carole. I'm from Romania and I'm representing one of the most beautiful and amazing festivals in Europe, and it's called Electric Castle. I'm the head of production or slash production manager of the festival, and I'm doing and I was doing a partial booking for the festival as well, only for new and upcoming acts. And yeah, that would be it for now.
Hello, I'm Filip, I'm from Czech Republic. I'm booker for a festival called Colors of Ostrava. Colors of Ostrava is the biggest festival in the Czech Republic, and Ostrava is the third biggest city in the country. We have 50,000 people per day for 4 days, and we love to discover music, so it's not a festival just about big headliners, but also about new talents. And yeah, I'm happy that I can be here with you, and let's talk about something interesting.
Use my pink
Stefan?
microphone.
Cool microphone, man.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Stefan
Suits you.
Kazaryan. I do Moscow Music Week and also a festival called Bol, which means pain on Russian. It's not as cool as all the other festivals, but you know, still good.
It's painful.
It's painful, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to be talking, how painful it is to do festivals.
Okay, as I said, my name is Vasil, and I'm originally coming from the Balkans, but 5 years ago I had a one-night stand on a showcase in Cardiff, and then 10 months later I was on my knees in a cathedral in Tromsø in Norway, and got married to my wife. We're still together and have a kid, so everything is cool. And besides that, I'm booking 2 festivals in Tromsø, and I'm programming a club in this small town in fucking North Pole. Let's start this panel with like one typical question is like, how are you gonna describe your festival? Why your festival is special, different, unique? Let's start with Jelača.
Thank you for calling me by my common high school name.
It's all my pleasure.
Yes, I love my last name, thank you.
I love it too.
What makes us special? I think what makes us special is that we work in a very peculiar market. So this usually means when you're working in a small market like Croatia, which is 4.5 million people, it's basically a major capital suburbia, the entire nation, you really have to spread out your reach musically in terms of genre very wide. So our festival really started from an initiative to promote world music bands to Croatians, who were kind of a bit xenophobic after the war, and there was quite a large amount of nationalism in our current state of mind at that point. So it was very important to open up and broaden the horizons to something different and new, which was inviting to a different culture and not necessarily segregating us from the rest of the world as we were effectively doing in the late 90s. So when it comes to the festival, it was mainly started with promoting a wide array of contemporary music, from electronic, contemporary jazz, even at certain points, world music, all the way to metal and like really death metal and stuff like that. So we really promoted a lot of bands and a lot of levels of recognized bands. So there were mainstream bands from this year's The Killers, which were colleagues in booking, to really small-time bands from so-called third world countries. And this is something that really makes us peculiar in the sense of programming. It's very versatile and it's very wide in its reach. So each particular festival edition obviously has a sort of niche that we try to accommodate further. When we scratch this niche with one particular band, we try to kind of have several bands that will complement it properly. But on the other hand, I would definitely say that our most peculiar aspect of the festival is the location. So pretty much everyone here, I think, has a very specific location, and I think it's very important for small markets like ours, for new and up-and-coming markets. Russia is obviously not a small market.
We can talk about that later, but it actually still is.
So I think our venue is very peculiar because it's a lakeside. It's actually a lake isle in the middle of the capital city of Croatia. So Zagreb has this old sport recreational center from the 80s that was relatively neglected in recent years, and we brought the festival to one of the lake isles and the campsite to the adjoining two lake isles. So actually the festival takes place on 3 little islands, and it is a very peculiar position. Fans are very impressed by it, a lot of the audience is very impressed by it, and the local audience really knows the venue very well, so it works good for foreign audiences and the locals.
Cool.
Nice.
Let's go on with Filip.
Okay, I think our story is really similar to INmusic. The festival started 20 years ago as a world music festival, as a really small event with specific genre. But nowadays it's the biggest festival in the Czech Republic with international names from big stars such as Killers or 21 Pilots. But what's really special is that we love to discover, we love to find new talents, we love to discover niche genres. And for me, the most important names aren't at the poster. The most important names are at the small stages, which we have around 8 music stages. It's represented also in the lineup on the main stage, because this year is quite unique. We have Yusundur on the main stage on Saturday, which is the biggest star in Africa. And after that, there is Martin Garrix, kind of controversial. But what's also special is that there's not only 8 stages for music, but another 8 stages for panel discussions and lessons. It's called Melting Pot, and when you buy a ticket for Colors, you get Melting Pot inside for free. So you can attend 4 days of panel discussions with famous speakers from all abroad. And so we like to think about things, we like to talk about things, and sometimes we like to connect artists which are quite interesting people, and usually the stage for the concert is not the right place to talk about things. So we bring them to the panel discussion and talking about things there. So yeah, that's it. And we are in a nice place of old factory area. It used to be coal mine and steel factory, built it 200 years ago. Nowadays it's amazing area with chimneys and tubes and towers of iron. You are more than welcome.
Like a Mad Max.
Like a Mad Max.
Stefan, what's special about Moscow Music Week?
Well, I mean, Moscow Music Week is a showcase festival. I would probably better maybe talk about Bol. It's more
You
comparable.
can combine, yeah.
Though actually, I can actually tell about both. Moscow Music Week, it's a showcase festival and a conference, the same as here in MENT. Actually, we're copying MENT in a way. But it's just bigger. It's 180, 190 bands and 32 showcases. We mostly divide them into genres, so it'd be easier for the professionals and the audience to find their way in these, million unknown names. Bol, the other festival I'm doing in July, well, it started as a punk festival pretty much. Like a nationalistic, I would even say, festival, because back in the day all the indie bands in Russia used to sing in English, which looked pretty stupid because people like, country with the least amount of people actually speaking English in Europe, suddenly everybody tried to sing in English, not knowing the language, looked pretty absurd. But it was the fashion of the time, and I started the festival with a slogan like only bands for the sing on Russian are going to be allowed, and it looked extremely uncool back then. But 2 years later, it appeared that now there's a new trend, and everybody sings only in Russian. And we decided that no, it's too cool, and we allowed whatever sort of bands, And afterwards, we decided like why do we have only Russian bands? Like at the festival, we should invite whatever sort of bands. So now it grew up to a major festival, 18,000 people, 102 bands, 6 stages. Plus a theatre stage and a philosophical lectorium and bands from all over, and even Damon Albarn played last year with The Good, the Bad, the Queen. But what makes it special? The audience. To be honest, the audience. Like if you ever been to Russia and been to a gig, you'd see one very special thing, like the audience is behaving as if it's last day on earth, and it's the last time they've ever gone to a concert. Like, and this energy it's vital. And one of the reasons, like we're probably the cheapest festival in Europe, out of the major ones. Like, the ticket for 3 days is like 60 euros or 50. Yeah, around that. And if you buy an early bird, it's 25 for 3 days.
There's cheaper festivals in Macedonia, I can assure you that.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the same lineup, we have major bands there, Def Grips, Sophie.
You need to reply, please.
I mean, maybe there's something cheaper, but it's pretty cheap. I mean, compared to the price of the beer in Moscow, it's relatively cheap, And this way we keep this audience, and that's the most important thing. Like I remember when Andras from MENT, like one of the organizers of MENT, came over the first time. He said, like, I'm not sure I want to book any band from over here, but can I borrow like 50 people from this audience? That will definitely make a difference. And it's true. It's true. I mean, we can program something. We can bring over expensive bands from them. I don't know the British press tells us to book, but it's not going to make a festival special. Special is the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is something you can't create. You can kind of program it and try to keep it, but it's a very it's pretty hard.
Cool.
And right now, like every year when I'm programming something, I'm always thinking of how to keep this vibe, because it's the vibe that's selling. It's not the names. I mean, there's a gentleman over there with girl band. They're one of our headliners this year. Why? I mean, are they that famous? No, but I know that it's gonna bring the proper vibe to the festival.
Nice. What about Electric Castle, Titus? What's the essence of visiting Electric Castle?
Well, I think at least almost everything. You know, I mean the act itself, how you interact with people, how you start communicating, how we really started everything back in 2013 in the middle of nowhere in a small village like with 2,000 people. If anyone does not know, the festival. It's near Cluj. It's almost in the center of Romania, and it is held near a neo-Gothic Romanesque castle. We always try to reshape how people think about festivals and the festival setup, and that's why we are trying to make statements like I don't know, bringing a bigger artist from the electronic jazz world, like having Niels Fram on stage like last year, or making special innovations like bringing new media artists like Nanotak or this year Monolake, for example. We really try to reshape how people can interact with music and also how can interact with technology. And it is also special because we are trying to be careful with people and our audience, because we have to we are quite far away from the city. We are 30 kilometers away, and we have around like 7,000-8,000 people in the camping, and we try to build them all the facilities needed. And as I saw, people quite enjoy this care, what we are presenting to them. So basically, it didn't start like how it is now in 2013. But in 2013 as well, I think we were the first festival who wanted to have their main stage without the skins on the stage itself, only on the roof. So pretty much we had some arguments, you know, with advancing with the production that it's not a good idea, and of course it wasn't. But the castle was placed inside the stage was placed inside the castle court, and it was pretty much amazing because you could see through the stage and see this huge scenery of castle and old building, you know, like 400 years old building. So yeah, I think this is the way it is special. Yeah, you have to have a good venue, and we were just I don't know, just creative enough just to see that we can make over there a festival. And yeah, this would be it. We are trying to interact as much as possible with people, and as I said before, just to reshape how they think about festivals, events, and to concentrate on the experience itself. Not only on music, not only on marketing, but everything. It's an integral package.
When we're talking about integral package, so in the last let's say 10 years, the growth of festivals, it's going so fast, and there are a lot of festivals all over the world, and especially like new festivals in eastern part of the world, over Europe. And actually, like I'm sometimes getting bored from going on festival where there is this 3 stages, 4 bars, food court, a toilet that stinks, and nothing else. And most of you were talking about like the headliners, the bands, and how important the people are for you that are coming to the festivals. what else your festival has to offer and how important the other things behind the names and the headliners are, so you can attract people to come. I'm running a festival that is called RakettNatt Music and Arts Festival, and we are really investing to give another experience than just a music experience to the visitors. So what are your thoughts about offering something more than music? Filip, you want to start, Stefan? No, when? You're gonna be second.
I think it's a ritual. The festival is a ritual, so people are coming there to spend time together and get something more than they can get in the real life, let's say. So they have time for their friends, for new people. They have time for discovering themselves as it is. So I think nowadays it's more important than we can see. And my opinion is that the growth of the festival is not only about economical side of the population, that we earn more money, we have more free time. I think it's also about that people are let's say less spiritual, less fulfilled, so they are trying to find something there at the festival together, because festival is a magical thing, I think, the time there. And of course, when you are spending time at the festival, you don't want to be disturbed by things around. So you want to have a good food. We have a lot of vegan stuff, a lot of local stuff there. You want to have enough comfort for your legs, for everything, so you can sit somewhere, you can hang around, just not standing in a queue all the time. And yeah, and sometimes we want to take a family, so that's why we are we are organizing a family park there. So you just take a kid there, and you have kind of high quality program also for the kids. So I think every single thing in the festival is making the difference between an event and a really high profile festival. I think we can talk about it really deeply, about everything from the gates, to security, from the camping site to the, I don't know, beer. But yeah, that's my colleagues who do this, and I think they do it really well, and that's why the theme of the festival is around 20 people, because everybody is focused on that particular thing, and everybody is trying to do their best, you know. It was quite general, right?
Yeah, very general. Stefan?
I kind of forgot what I wanted to say. What was the question?
The question was, is the headliners band just important to attract people,
of
or
course
something
they're not.
else?
I mean, headliners are just some shitty British bands that British agents force us to buy, you know, the same Black Country New Road and stuff like that is on all the festivals, including us. We also have to buy this shit. I saw it yesterday and I was like, oh shit, I actually booked this? And the same thing everywhere, you know, like why is Black Country New Road at every fucking festival? No idea. Like because the Brits told us to.
What else?
So in the end, you look at the festival lineups in Europe, and it's all the same cool stuff from the island. But what makes it different? Again, the audience. The audience is different everywhere, and our audience is not just wild and young. It's also smart. So we have to add additional things to the music program. I mean, back in the day, we were very anarchist. We were like, you want to lie down, go home and lie in bed. You want to eat, go to the restaurant. So we didn't really even have a food court or any relaxation area. But we're getting old, and my back personally hurts and all the time if I stand more than 2 hours. So we kind of had to be more friendly, and now we have zones for all this. But plus we have a theater stage. We have stand-up comedy kind of stage that I personally never visited. I have no idea what's going on there, but people say it's funny there. And
are you running the festival, or?
Yeah, I'm running a festival, but you know, I have employees like Igor over there standing. He's in charge of the comedy stage. I mean, something's going on there. I didn't have any complaints. That's what matters. And we have a philosophical lectorium, like it's called Anti-School, where feminists fight Orthodox Christian women, like, I don't know.
Did you get the Orthodox Christian women to attend?
Look, we just invited them.
And they're down for it.
Sure. I mean, you know, they're also progressive in a way. They just believe in different things. They believe that being a wife and raising kids and loving your husband is not bad. Like, and they're confronted by feminists that believe that it's all evil and, you know, you have to live for yourself and stuff like that. I mean, I don't care. Like, as long as you're all happy, I'm happy. And we also had a right-wing philosopher confronting a left-wing philosopher, and they were just like, you know, insulting each other for an hour. I loved it. Like, I think both of them were assholes, but it was cool, you know? And also we have lectures.
I completely understand you. I married a wife who is a son of who is a daughter of a priest, and I don't believe in God, but I respect her.
I mean, and we also have like lectures about yoga there and stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty much where you could chill. But people need it because it's hard to listen to 100 bands, you know, in a row. And we're not Primavera. We actually try to make all the stages closed so you could have a chance to see things. Like, I mean, at Primavera, like, you know, that if you go to this stage, forget about the stage that's 20 minutes walk from it. In our case, it's like a 2-minute walk from all the stages. But listening to 30 bands a day it's intense, and you have to have something else. And plus, like, you can't be just a music lover. You have to have other things you like in this world, and we're trying to give you that so it would be comfortable. And like these small details, that's what actually makes festivals different. Because, you know, I met a person at Eurosonic from Italy, and he showed me the lineup of his festival, and I was like, "Is it your festival?" Like, it was 70% the same, and the other 30% were just Russian bands. He didn't have them, definitely. And I was like, "And what about last year?" And he showed me last year's lineup, and it was the same as last year we had. But once we started talking, and he mentioned the word wine like 7 times. Like, we have wine, we have wine, we have wine, everybody's relaxing. And I was like, and we don't have any wine at our festival, nobody's relaxing. So, and I bet it's an absolutely different festival with the vibe. Like, they have 30, 35-year-old people relaxing, chilling, and drinking wine in the middle of the mountains in northern Italy, and we have like you know, a bunch of 18-year-old punks drinking cheap beer in the middle of a factory. But the lineup's the same.
Titus, what besides the lineup you have to offer?
Well, we have lots of things at our festival. So basically, I have to get back to Stefan's word that every single detail matters the most. So basically, we had this wide range of extraordinary good food. We have a very good colleague who is a very gourmand guy, and he's always picking up the vendors. And of course, we have lots of daily activities. We have lots of, how to say that, attractions like Ferris wheel. We were like the first festival in Romania placing a Ferris wheel in the middle of nowhere. People just, they want to see interesting stuff, and they want to interact as much as possible with as much as possible things on the festival side. So we have daily activities. We have, as I said before, we have this new media concept which was held inside the castle buildings, and there you can see, the visitors can saw the installations, the art installations of these artists. So basically, if you are talking not only about the lineup, it's quite okay to think about that we are trying to redefining Romanian club music on a stage, and this way we are trying to build the whole setup of the festivals in a new design wave and reshape it almost every single time. If not the outside structures, but mainly what is in the interior of it. So the architecture is quite contemporary with a little bit of old architecture. We are not trying to follow the architecture of the castle itself, but we still try to make it extraordinary with all the details. We are working with a lot of woods and a lot of metal, and the best thing is, for example, for the campers, they have their own shop in the festival. I mean, at 8,000 people, you would need to have some food to buy if the food inside the festival is quite expensive. So we have an extraordinarily small lake. You cannot swim in it. We are in an old castle park, so that would be the special part of it. As I said, all the details that we are focusing on, and we are building it in almost 2 months, the whole festival. We are building it from zero. We are building infrastructure. We are building everything by ourselves. We have to take in generators. We have to reshape everything, the structures, containers, and all of that. And I think that people really love this experience because it's an experience that people never saw before, like in the middle of almost nowhere, to see some new and contemporary art structures.
Jelača, what besides Killers, Deftones, Roštilj, or Jarun offers in music?
It offers a lot. It has to offer a lot. I think what is peculiar for Croatia and for the majority of ex-Yugoslavian countries is the fact that the contemporary music scene, which we are discussing here today and which you are in one way or another a part of, is fundamentally underground in the Balkans. And for Croatia, unfortunately, that means that however much we all may think that the Killers are super mainstream and they are super commercial, that is still considered a relatively underground band in Croatia, in Serbia, in Bosnia, in Macedonia, and the number of audiences that are willing to attend and pay for a ticket for such a band is really weirdly small. So despite working in a national capital, despite working in relatively good terms, we are a member of the EU, it is very, very difficult, and there's a huge responsibility of festivals that do promote contemporary music to promote it in a sense that it is that it is something in a common interest, that it is something that reflects our cultural growth as a nation, that we are not necessarily keen on returning to some more recent events in our history. So it's very, very important to keep the audience looking forward. On the other hand, we have to keep in mind that with this scarce finance our audience faces, they usually need a lot more motivation than the than the average concert goer. So if you have a club show with a punk band, you can count on your 200, 300 audience members to buy a ticket of 5 to 10 euros. If you're doing a festival with the same punk band, you have to count on probably selling 0 tickets for the festival for that punk band, but to have 300 people bitch about having the ticket price too high. So you need to have the punk band, you need to have the cool British band that everyone is talking about, although no one will buy the ticket for the band. They will then probably bitch about, yeah, it collided with the one band that I actually didn't want to see at the festival, but I still stayed because it's a bigger name and I paid an expensive festival ticket. By the way, the expensive festival ticket for the festival for 3 days is 70 euros. Currently it was 60 euros still a month ago. So fundamentally for our market, I think our major responsibility is to keep the level of programming very high, to reintroduce the audience into something that has been happening in the rest of the world for 20, 30, 40 years. We still need to establish that Beck is an artist, not just a musician. We still need to establish that world music is an integral part of contemporary music production. We still need to establish that young authors need a platform to perform in front of their peers, in front of their audiences. We still need to establish that our audience needs to work on itself as well. We all need to work on ourselves, but they really do need to invest more time in figuring things out. We have 0 streaming services in Croatia. We only have Deezer, which is really poorly used, which means a lot of the audience really picks up on their musical interest very, very slow. So it takes 10 to 15 years for a band to become established in our market, which is usually the time that they are at their creative worst. At least so the audience thinks. So if they heard about the band the first year they got their record out, they were so fucking cool, and by the time we can book them for the festival, they're completely irrelevant to them. So it's a tug and pull situation, I think, but I think we're doing a good job. We need to spread our net very wide, so we have Deftones, Beck, Killers, a lot of bands that are navigating the mainstream to high art level. So this is very important to us, and we really are very adamant, I think, in sort of protecting the integrity of the programming for the festival. It has to be diverse, but it really does have to offer something new to the audience. It does have to have a hook to make them buy the ticket to come in the first place. So it's quite complicated, but so far so good.
Okay, so it's just programming that INmusic offers.
No, it's not.
All these festivals have grown up since they begun. Both Colors of Ostrava and INmusic and Moscow Music Week and especially Electric Castle, when started in 2030 with around 30,000 people, and now you have like 200,000 visitors. I was doing some research that you are also giving something back to society, and you generate revenue to the community. You give money to the local schools for new furniture and stuff like that, which is a really good thing to do in this troubled areas of where you're working. What's the other festivals giving back to the society? Colors of Ostrava.
Okay. You are probably much more further than we are. But yeah, we at first we are trying to work with disabled people at the festival, so we want to give that experience to everybody, so everybody can enjoy the festival, disabled people, children, but also pensioners who can attend the festival on Saturday for free. It's 10 years ago we started to organize another festival, which was called Festival in the Streets, and it was free festival in the public space for people. So we understand that not everybody can buy a ticket for the festival, which we are organizing, I mean Colors of Ostrava. So we decided to give them a little present and to give them international shows for free. So we brought African bands to people who never saw African at all. But what we started to do now, and I'm very happy about it, is that we started to do a program. It's called Let's Make Grandma Dance, in translation. And for every guest ticket, so bands has guests, partners has guests, we have a guest at the festival who don't buy a ticket, they still want to contribute around €4 per that 4-day ticket, and this €4 goes to our project. And we are organizing a special event in the, I don't know the proper word in English, but it's the pensioner house, yeah, for elder people.
Elder house.
Yeah, elder house. So we buy them some good food, we buy them some juice and some dancers and
Dancers.
like
Nice.
and a band, traditional band, folk band, and they can dance, because we have a colleague and she was quite unhappy that her grandmother wants to dance for the last time, like with a live band, you know. And usually people can't do it when they are in the elder house. So yeah, that's the series of the events which will be happening, and I hope that it is beginning of some more projects and everything. But it's nice what you do.
Thank you.
What about INmusic? Does INmusic has any back to society or support the places that need support in Croatia?
Absolutely. Yes, we do. So far we've done actually quite a lot of donating, but we don't really use it for PR purposes. These are anonymous donations usually. We have been donating certain causes that are very important to us as a collective that works behind the festival, so immigrational causes, natural disasters happening in the region and stuff like that, but these are humanitarian causes primarily, and our very strong belief is that these are not to be used for PR stunts and taking photos and sharing on Facebook and stuff like that. It seems kind of cheap, so we don't do that. Per se, we do have a policy that is open to obviously people with limited mobility, for their able-bodied partners to attend free of charge. We have free of charge entrance to children up to 12 years of age, so we are very inviting to young families, and these are usually attending the festival in high numbers. We also have certain events and policies that we collaborate with various other organizations in our civil society that promote either science or arts or stuff that should be promoting kids to kind of get involved in the cultural scene. We usually always attend these when we are either invited to collaborate or to initiate something like that. And I think what our probably most proud moment, which is public, it was sort of a dream come true for all of us at the festival. In 2016, we embarked on our biggest project yet, which was practically not music related. And it was the building of the replica of the Tesla Tower on the festival site. So this is the first and only historically correct replica of the famous Wardenclyffe Tower that was built by Nikola Tesla in 1901 in New Jersey, on Long Island actually, and which was actually his life's work, aiming to produce free energy to the rest of the world, to everyone, in order to stop world wars and economic struggle for everyone living on the planet, which was really probably the most humanist and the most noble idea we have so far encountered from a scientist and someone who could have made a lot of money with his patents. However, he decided to dedicate his last 40 years of his life to giving everyone free energy and free access to energy in unlimited amounts. So this is quite impressive for us. And what was the trigger to start to build the Tesla Tower, which is obviously non-functional, because if NASA and, I don't know, the CERN collider can't figure out the technology, go figure, we didn't figure it either. So it's just a nice piece of architecture on site. We built it in 2016, motivated by the really sudden death of David Bowie, and this was sort of a click that happened in our team. Interesting trivia, David Bowie played Nikola Tesla in Christopher Nolan's Prestige, if you've seen it, so it was kind of a weird coincidence that this great artist was also impressed with this great scientist who coincidentally was born in contemporary Croatia's territory. So it's a very complex issue, but it was very important for us to kind of draw the link between the universality of well-being amongst all humans. So from a scientific point of view and from an artistic point of view, because Tesla was very artistically inclined and very motivated with poets, with various sorts of artists, and this was a very nice talking point for us at the festival. It was very inspirational, and lo and behold, we have this gigantic steel structure. We also have a steel tower, but it's not part of an industrial complex, unfortunately. So our steel tower is 30 meters high. It's like 1 billion tons of steel in it, and we have a 360 stage, a VJ stage within it, which each year with a famous Croatian videographer, we produce a VJ program that plays from Bowie hits to all sorts of hits we think are very important in the making of a very diverse audience that we try to get together at the festival. So this is something I think we did good. And we did it with a partnership with the Technical Museum of Nikola Tesla in Zagreb, which used the tower during the year for various scientific workshops and stuff like that.
Cool, thanks.